was born in Colombia.
Did you grow up Jewish?
No, I didn't grow up like most kids. We didn't really have a religious background as far as we didn't practice anything, and we were not allowed to talk anything religious in the house. So my mother had a lot of like things like that she passed down to me from her grandmother. That would be my great grandmother. And she would tell my mother when she was a little girl, sit down, I need to tell you something, but you cannot question it. And so my mother's job was to just listen. Like she would talk to her about things like they were very, very big on Lashon Hora. They were very big on, like she would tell her what happens to you when, what happens to a person, especially your parents when they pass away, where do they go?
She would tell her about that.
And you have to daven because they're going to be in this place for about a year, and you have to really daven for them, help them.
Into English.
So
you got to pray.
You have to pray.
Yeah.
And things like...
You didn't grow up knowing you were a Marano. You just knew your family is different.
Right.
Okay.
My family was very different. Children would question me, why are your parents the way they are, My mother grew up not celebrating, not even birthdays, no Christmas trees, nothing religious, really. My grandfather used to shikita the animal, slaughter the animal, hang them upside down, drain the blood, but it was nothing that was questioned. I used to ask questions, I suffered a lot of persecution. I had kids that would spit on my face, or they would just bluntly tell me, you're not one of us, you're not from here, you're not, like, you don't belong with us.
Because you were definitely not Catholic? Is that?
I think because I was different. I really feel that it was spiritual, that they sensed something different, and there was this aggression, and that was more confusing. It was painful. Growing up was painful. It was very, very painful and confusing. But I knew in my heart, even though my dad didn't teach me religion, I knew in my heart that there was a God. And also the elementary was difficult because they teach you, Catholicism. The nuns, elementary was with nuns and everything. It was an all-girls school, but they teach you every day. And I remember walking down the hallways, and if there was a statue, if you don't bow down to the statue, they make you bow down. They will yell at you. They will tell you you have to pay respect.
And it wasn't sitting with you as a little girl. It just wasn't who you were.
No, it wasn't sitting with me. But even the teachers would sometimes tell me, you would always have something to say, like negative, to make me feel foreign. And I remember as early as I was 12, I remember sitting in my bedroom, and I used to feel melancholy, like sad. And I remember my mom coming in one time, and she said, what's the matter? And I said, my mom, I know I was born in Colombia, I know, but I feel my roots are not here. I feel a faraway land calling me, and I know that when I grow up, I will find this place. I know my roots are not here. It was just like, it was so strong. So this was my many years. Also, there was one thing I used to tell many rabbis that I, talked to. I used to tell them, I could have been, and I tell people, I could have been a very good nun. Because I got the right training. They taught me everything in the Catholic in the elementary. But every day I would go and they would teach me. Every day I come home. And during those elementary years, I always had the same dream, and I tell people it might sound crazy, but it was the one thing, and I couldn't talk to my father about it. I couldn't talk to my mother about it. And it was the Shema, the part of the Shema, the Echad, that God is one, God is one. It was a constant repetition, like a broken record. God is one every night.
You were saying Shema?
No, but I would, what was that? Okay. Something fell off the tree. But I would hear it, and
where did you hear that concept?
In a dream. In my dream. Every day I go to the school. Every day I go to the school, and they teach you all about, the Catholic, and their scriptures. And every day I come home and I have the same dream, and it's that part of, God is one, and there's no other God besides me. And I couldn't. So every day I wake up, I can't attach. That was a difficult thing. I couldn't attach myself to their teachings. So, and I couldn't tell my father about it because it was forbidden. You don't talk religious in the house. It was hard growing up. I couldn't talk much. A lot was going on spiritually
for you inside. It's so unusual.
It was too much.
Though.
It was too much to
Yeah, I can't imagine
contain.
that was happy times.
It wasn't.
No.
Yeah, it was very, very. I felt unusual, you know, and that was the feeling. I also wanted to be like the other kids. I wanted to fit in, but I just couldn't.
No.
And even if I tried, I couldn't.
No.
There was something.
Yeah.
Through jobs and things like this, I was very much exposed to Jewish people, and I worked at the JCC. At the JCC, the women would tell me, you know, on Friday they would say, "Go get your challah," you know. They would bring it into the office, and I'm like, "What is the challah? And why are you asking me to get the challah?" And they're like, "Go get it. You don't get the challah," you know. They're like, no clue. I'm like, "Okay, I'm just gonna go get it," you know. Fine.
I also want some challah.
So, through also stores that I worked where the majority of clientele was Jewish. I remember one particular night, this woman comes in, it's the last customer. I'm ready to give her the change, and she pointed at me with her forefinger, and she's like, "You should have been Jewish. I don't understand."
You really always have had a Jewish soul.
Right.
And
That's what I feel.
Traveling through your life with you, trying to make sense of why can't you just match up your body, your life. Oh my gosh.
So you know, and I'm looking at her, and by then I'm thinking, okay, you know, it's been a few years, and I'm thinking I'm been hearing this too long. What is going on? What's wrong with this woman? You know, like, you know, I'm thinking, you know, what's wrong? It wasn't until I met my husband, and we were recently married, you know, and I told him, I said, you know, if we have children, I want to offer them a lot more than just life. There is a lot more. I said to him, everybody says they have the truth, and so obviously somebody has to have the truth, and we're gonna find this truth. And so we made a vow. We didn't know how long it was going to take. It took about 16 years. It was an amazing search, but we said our beginning was we started reading the scriptures, both the Torah and both the you know, Christian also scriptures. It was kind of confusing. We were trying to, you know, kind of make sense of everything. People were upset with us because we started questioning the Jewish festivals. We were very drawn to it. And people would tell us, no, you have to be Jewish to keep them, or, you know, things like that. They would, you know, not encourage us. Family were not happy with us because little by little we were more withdrawn, you know.
Yeah.
And it was quite an amazing journey. We interviewed leaders in many churches and, you know,
you interviewed
beliefs.
them. What did you ask them?
We would ask, as we were reading and studying, we were getting a sense of who God was, and their answers, they were not balanced. You know, we were trying to find somebody that would actually make sense, that would, you know, be very, very balanced, and we were not happy. We have many tales to tell of our experiences and interviews.
Yeah. Why do you think people want to hear your story? What's getting to them?
In our journey, we made a lot of sacrifices, and if there was anything I learned in all these years, was that God is my life, my breath, my rock, and He showed me through even the children that we have. I was not supposed to have children, and I had them. Not physically. We lost the first baby. It's just an amazing story. I was hemorrhaging. My uterus ruptured, and while I was hemorrhaging, you know, the one thing they do is take out the uterus so you can stop hemorrhaging, and hopefully you'll make it through. But it's an amazing story. It was a miracle that at that very moment, and I heard from a doctor that was there, was that she said that the room was filled with doctors and nurses, and not one more soul could fit in there. And when they were about to do this, take out everything, I was gonna be really no chance. they said that there was a strong, she described it as a force that descended in the room. What they heard was, give her a chance. And for them, they understood give her a chance means don't take her uterus. But I made it through. I'm alive, Baruch Hashem. And, you know, they told me I couldn't have kids. It was too dangerous. But Baruch Hashem, I did. I count my blessings. I got my blessings. So Hashem is unbelievable. So I've learned even from then that nothing else matters. They really, I mean, to me, and I tell this to my kids, I tell them, you know, the world we live in is just an illusion. It's not the real world. It's not the real world. Shemayim is the real world. And I tell them this is our boot camp. This is where we, you know, grow, and this is where we have to work out our weaknesses. And I tell them everything you see, you know, it's just think of it as not real, because what is really real, what gives us not only parnasa, a life, a sustenance, and what gives us healing and health and everything 100% is God. Is God, and I really don't need anything else. And He's shown me this in so many areas in my life. In so many areas of my life, when even, you know, He does test us. Many areas in my life, even with marriage, with children, health, everything, I've had to be reminded, and I always have to get back to the point and say, okay, you're right. I don't you could take everything away from me. You could take the kids, you could take my husband, you could take it. You matter the most. My whole soul life, everything happens for a reason. So if He's in control, and I'm going through this, I need to go through this, and I need to accept it, and I need even to say thank you that my husband is at the hospital. Wow. Thank you that I'm going through this. Thank you that, because I need it. I need to grow. Krasicha